What up, fight world? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, I'm back with my post-fight Carlos Cuadras versus Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez. Congrats to Chocolatito, who won via unanimous decision. I'm going to do my breakdown on the fight, and I'm going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. Now, the good was it was a good fight. Definitely exciting, back and forth type action. And as far as the round by rounds, let's get into it. I gave round one to Cuadras. Nothing too crazy happened. I just thought he was busier than Chocolatito. And Chocolatito was stalking but hadn't found any kind of offensive rhythm, right? I said good round two for Chocolatito. First portion was pretty even. Chocolatito applied some serious pressure, landed better combos, right? Round three, Chocolatito, I gave it to Chocolatito. I thought Cuadras started well. Then he let Gonzalez unleash hellish combos and dig nasty to the body, right? Round four, very close round. There was a lot of rounds where the thing I like to do is put an asterisk next to rounds that are close. And this one's a little bit different because I think I even stopped scoring because it was just so much back and forth. And I'm trying to do it within a minute and hear everything that's going on. So it's a little bit different when you're doing it live. But round four, very close round to me. Both did good work. Cuadras, he started and finished well. And I thought Gonzalez ruled the middle of that round. Right? Round five for Cuadras. The HBO commentary for their favorites is so biased, it's funny. Gonzalez had nasty body shots. So this is the bad and the ugly. No, fuck bad. It's ugly. And it's the HBO commentary. I mean, I understand you got a guy that your company puts money into, but you heard the first couple of rounds of my fight breakdown. And I'm not saying I know everything, right? But I'm calling it like I see. You had Harold Letterman on this telecast who everybody disagreed with. Jim Lampley's, he's over in the UK covering the Golovkin-Brook fight earlier. But Max Kellerman and Roy Jones were the ones calling this fight. And you had Harold Letterman. By the halfway mark, round six or so, he had given Roman Chocolatito every single round. Like, it's just like, are you even watching the fight? And then what he was saying was even more laughable. He was saying things like, okay, Max. All Roman all the way, and it was just crazy to hear these notes. Like it's so absurd and it's so disrespectful and irresponsible to be at one point. I don't even know about now because they have the HBO budget cuts, but at one point be the benchmark for boxing, and it's like they try to poison the fans with whoever they try to force feed you. Like Chocolatito, he's a good fighter. He looked very sharp on this fight, but they set you up for failure because I think Chocolatito, and I'll get to that, I thought he started to fade a bit in this particular fight, right? But had you listened to Harold Letterman's card instead of my round by round tweets, you would think that there's no way Cuadras is even in the fight. You know what I'm saying? He had it a shutout, and I don't know. I don't see how you can call yourself a professional and take very close fights that are there's been a lot of good fights. Porter Thurman, Leo Santa Cruz versus Carl Frampton yesterday, Richard Comey versus Robert Easter Jr. All of those have rounds that are definitely up for interpretation based on what you like because both combatants did good ass work in those particular rounds. But by default, it seems like HBO is just going to give it to Chocolatito. Anyway, I thought in round five, Cuadras, he worked more of it. And after the fight, he left and didn't do no interview. He just lost his title, you know what I'm saying, to the favorite, so I think he was pissed. All five rounds to Chocolatito on Letterman's card, laughing my ass off. What did I tell you? After I just talked about, see, look at the timestamps, 8:22. We go back. I just talked at 8:21, a minute before. In between rounds, I had posted this about HBO's commentary for the favorites is so biased. Literally a minute later, they proved my point with Letterman saying that after 5 or 6 rounds, he gave every single round to Chocolatito. Like, you know what I'm saying? And some of them were close. It's like, I don't know. It's crazy. Then I said Gonzalez needs to be careful to not blow his wad early since he's the guy that's moving up in weight. And I thought that was very important. And I think he did. He was the one moving up. He looked sharp as shit in the early rounds. His punch variation, this is the good for Roman Chocolatito. He's tough. The little motherfucker has heart like crazy. You know what I mean? Because some guys wouldn't be able to stand up, go up in weight and stuff like that. I salute Roman's skill set. He's definitely offensive. He could have showed me more variety in terms of his defense because I thought his defense was a bit better, but once he stepped in with a tricky guy with some power, he looked a little bit vulnerable in the second half of the fight. But the good for Roman is he's durable, he has heart, his offensive variety, punch variety is phenomenal. Him cutting off the ring, he does it real good, but he did have trouble cutting off the ring against Cuadras. So that's what I tell people. People keep saying all this, oh, the best in the last 25 years and pound for pound #1, which I'm going to get to in this video. But it's easy to say those things, but until we see the Golovkins and Chocolatito fight contemporaries, this is a very good win for him. I don't agree with the scorecards. That's another bad thing. The scorecards were so wide. I don't think this fight was a 117-111 fight. That's like Canelo Lara shit. How can you tell me after I just watched a very competitive fight? Why are the people on the edge of their seat? Why are the people cheering if it's very competitive? You know what I'm saying? I see, even in the corners, I heard good corner advice from both corners. So if it was such a one-sided fight, usually you would hear one-sided commentary in the corners. So for judges and Harold Letterman, people to try to force feed me some bullshit and make it sound like it was a one-sided 117-111 fight, I feel is disrespectful. Letterman said Cuadras was running, quote unquote, then contradicted himself, saying Chocolatito is more dangerous if you stand in front of him, laughing my ass off. Once again, this running shit in boxing has got to stop. New media is here on the case, so you will get called out for it. That is a fucking oxymoron, which makes no sense. If somebody is, quote unquote, running, using lateral movement, evading shots, but then you just told us seconds later that, oh, he's a motherfucker to deal with. If you're in his wheelhouse, he's going to chop you up. So basically, you're saying he needs to just stand in front of him and rock'em sock'em robots and get chopped up because you believe that he's a machine when it comes to his offensive prowess if you stand in front of him, but yet you said he needs to stop running. If he would just plant his feet and like, it just sounds so stupid. I guarantee you, a lot of people that think like Harold Letterman and people that leave these crazy comments, you would never have any levels of success as an actual boxing trainer, because what you would do would go out there and get your fighter hurt. You know what I mean? Telling them to fight in a way that doesn't suit them. They're not power punchers and you're telling them to fight like they're Golovkin. They don't have a chin and you're telling them to fight like Golovkin. Or they're good with their legs and you tell them don't use that. Keep your feet planted for more of the round when you know the opponent is he's a gunslinger. You know what I mean? Just stupid shit. Round 7, again, hard to score. Round of halves. This was the tone of the fight. That's why it feels so disrespectful, because a lot of those rounds could have an asterisk by it. And you know what I'm saying? You have to keep in mind, Carlos Cuadras was the champion. So usually it takes a little bit more to unseat the champion. Like if someone has the belt, you have to really wow the judges and impress them, because this guy's a champion. We all know that. Like what Marcos Maidana did to Adrian Broner, who got the belt from Paulie Malignaggi. Maidana he left nothing to the imagination. He dropped him twice. He had him badly hurt multiple times. Broner did okay in the latter portion, but it was nothing compared to what Maidana did when he was winning rounds. You know what I'm saying? So that's a great definition, or a great analogy or example of unseating a champion in a dominant fashion. You know what I'm saying? What Cotto did to Sergio Martinez, leg or not, what he did, that's unseating a champion. You know what I mean? This was a very competitive fight, and it's laughable that the commentary was so one-sided versus Chocolatito. You could tell who they have their money behind. You know what I mean? In all their fights. Pacquiao, when he was the guy before they dropped him from the network. Golovkin. It's crazy. But I want to hear real boxing talk. And then, again, it's kind of, like I said, irresponsible, because let them tell it. You make it sound like Cuadras ain't doing shit in there. And then when your commentary switches towards the end, when Chocolatito, which I'm going to get to, he started looking like he was fading, like the weight was catching up, the fighting a bigger man and throwing all them damn punches was catching up to him. You know what I'm saying? So based on all that earlier commentary, then you wouldn't think that would be the case based on if you were to look at their scorecards. I said Cuadras started well, then Chocolatito went for broke, which was good. And I gave a slight edge to Chocolatito. See, again, very fair, people say, oh, you're unbiased, ego, or you're biased. And, I mean, look at it. Great back and forth action, gave that last round to Cuadras. Busier, you know what I'm saying? Great back and forth. I'm not saying, oh, Chocolatito did everything in every round, you know what I mean? I'm not saying, oh, Cuadras, he's unstoppable. I'm not saying these things. I'm telling you what I really see. Max Kellerman said Chocolatito seemed disheartened in round 9. Again, if you were to look at Harold Letterman and listen to his commentary, look at his scorecards, then you'd be like, why the fuck is he disheartened? He won every round except for one round, according to Letterman's card. You see how these contradictions, and then Max and Roy didn't even agree to some of the stuff that Letterman was saying. Like, I don't agree that he's running. So it's like, you guys aren't even on the same page. You know what I'm saying? So you got one person saying radical. That's how I feel like when I do videos. When I do new media videos, you get some like idiot casual who says the complete opposite. You know what I'm saying? So if you're a team and network, I'm not saying you all have to think alike, but just call it like you see it. I gave round 9 to Cuadras. Seems a bit fresher. Both did really good work. Cuadras seemed to work longer portions of the round, another close round. Again, this is kind of like Pacquiao-Bradley part 1. Right? So you can't say, you're just biased for Cuadras and all this shit. It's what you like, kind of, because if there's a 3-minute round and Chocolatito is gunslinging for a good 25 seconds, but the other guy is more consistent, then how could you give him, unless Chocolatito hurt him badly, which there was never any real visible signs that Cuadras was on his way out, you know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? It's like, how do you give a guy who's a workman performance and landing good shots and impactful shots, which is another thing that Letterman failed to mention. He was just making it like Chocolatito was the only one landing effective shots. And then Max Kellerman and Roy disagree, say, hey, I don't know. I think Cuadras might be landing the bigger shots. He's the bigger guy. So HBO telecast was just real all over the place, more so than normal. Usually they're kind of in line or they get the other person in check, but all over the place. Max and Roy disagreeing with fellow HBO co-host Letterman, who said Cuadras was running all night, which I just went over. Roman Gonzalez looked tired as fuck at the sound of the bell going back to his corner. Like I said, hashtag weight matters. Moving up in weight is a process, you know what I mean? Round 11, Cuadras. I thought Gonzalez looked spent. 8 nasty body shots. Gonzalez tried to rally, but missed a lot of combos. Not as sharp as earlier. And see, this is the reason. Some people, it's the same thing with Floyd and Cotto. Cotto, he's not going to go out like a punk. He's a veteran, you know what I'm saying? And when Mayweather was winning rounds, and I remember there's this Puerto Rican guy, he used to have a YouTube channel. He was like literally crying, like, they robbed Cotto. Oh, man, I swear to God, I'm going to be on some real murder shit. Hey, they robbed Cotto. Like, he was so mad. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Cotto didn't get robbed, you know what I mean? But it's just people's perception. Cotto did shit because he's a veteran, you know what I mean? So you have Floyd against the ropes. He's like, ha, 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 ha. And it looks like he's doing a lot because he's like, oh, he's bullying Floyd. Well, you watch that shit in slow motion or have a trained eye, and he wasn't really landing a lot. Blocked, partially blocked, that connected, this missed totally. And I thought in round 11, there was a lot from Gonzalez where he was rallying like, but he missed a lot. You know what I mean? Cuadras was pretty crafty in there. Round 12 was an excellent round. It was a war. So they gave it to Chocolatito, which it's not even about being. I'm okay, but I don't think the scorecards were what they said it was. I don't think the commentary was what they said it was. You know what I mean? If he won, that's fine. But usually you have to do more to unseat a champion. You know what I mean? And 117, 111 is some Canelo Lotta shit. And this is who you told me was currently number 1 pound for pound. When have you ever seen Floyd Mayweather look exasperated after 12 rounds, new division or not? And again, it goes back to the video I said, Chocolatito is a great fighter. If you want to put him on the pound for pound list somewhere, I don't really even have a problem with that. I even put him on the pound for pound list on my Boxing Eagles First Look, but I have him towards the back until he fights the better and better competition. You know what I mean? Guys like Cuadras, Estrada rematch, which I thought he was going to fight, but he didn't. You know what I mean? That was another close fight. I would love to see a rematch to this fight. Inui, or however you pronounce his name. These are all the telling fights. And based on that performance, I can't say it was stellar. I mean, he held his own. He looked fresh early, and he had heart late. But I don't think over the duration of 12, he looked like the pound for pound number 1. So it remains, like I said, Ward versus Kovalev. Based on what they've done, who they've beaten, I really feel like that is the number 1 person, period. Bar none, no exception. And that's it. It is what it is. I know a lot of people got mad. Like, a lot of people, they were mad. But here's the punch stats. This is another thing. What the fuck is this? Hold on. I don't even know. Sorry. Okay. I said congrats to Chocolatito. Those scorecards were atrocious. 150 likes. Look, 323 punches, total punches landed. and he landed less, 258. But look at the accuracy. Even though Chocolatito threw 985, which is what I was just saying, and Cuadras only threw 893, they're very close, very close. And you can even argue, like HBO's commentators did, and say Cuadras landed the bigger shots. You know what I'm saying? Now, this is the thing with fighters like Gonzalez, very tricky, because when he throws, he does it so beautifully, and his punch variety, it just looks sharp as shit, right? It reminds me of Jorge Linares. I'm not talking about anything else but their boxing ability. When Jorge Linares is on ripping combinations, he looks brilliant. He looks good. You know what I'm saying? I think he has chin issues, but I mean, when he's boxing, rap, bop, bop, rap, rap, landing combinations, it looks phenomenal. And that's the thing with Gonzalez. So you have to be able to separate the flash and the glitter from what's being effective and stuff like that. So I thought it was a highly competitive fight. It was a close fight. And for anyone who has some stupid shit to say in the comment section, you have to look at Chocolatito and what he said post-fight. Post-fight, Chocolatito said this was the toughest fight of my whole career. He said this was even tougher than my fight with Estrada, which some people thought he lost that fight. So I know what I'm saying. But again, it goes back to my main fucking point, which is what I was telling you guys. If you want to place Chocolatito somewhere in the pound for pound, I have no beef with that. But using the HBO, the biased commentary that we received tonight, then why would Chocolatito say this was his toughest fight? That doesn't even make sense. If you were to read my round by round tweets, that makes it sound like a competitive fight, because it was that. But if you look at Harold Letterman and what he said on this telecast, and I don't think Max and Roy were that bad. I really think I blame a lot of this on Harold Letterman, and Jim Lampley wasn't there. So if you listen to what Harold Letterman said, it was a blowout. So why is Chocolatito's face looking like the picture that you see on the screen? Meanwhile, Carlos Cuadras, his face is clean. And why is Chocolatito saying this is the toughest fight of my career over another tough fight, which was Estrada? You know what I'm saying? And this is the comments on my post. Draw, Max Kellerman has a crush on Roman. Just like I thought, two fighters got exposed tonight. Damn, these little guys can throw punches all night. Hashtag Cuadras won. I'm sorry. See, HBO got me saying running this shit. 115, 113 is what I had it as. Who do you have winning? Ego. I wish Paulie was there. He would expose these judges. Both look incredible. Nicaragua. You don't know shit. Just a lot of comments. So you guys let me know. Scorecards were awful, but Chocolatito edged it in my opinion. So again, it's not even really. This was a competitive fight, and it was a close fight. I don't think Chocolatito looked pound for pound number one. That's for certain. Him winning, okay, that's fine. But I don't think he won by a wide margin, right? You know what I mean? I thought it was a very competitive fight. And I got to rewatch it, to my credit. I got to rewatch it because these little guys were throwing punches like a motherfucker. They were throwing nonstop punches. So I got to rewatch it to really just break down. It's a little bit different live. Even when I go cover fights live, it's different. But shout out to Chocolatito. I'm sure it's a learning experience. Hopefully we can get a rematch. I know Carlos Cuadras was pissed. The scorecards were terrible. I thought Letterman's commentary was... I mean, we got to get people in boxing that know what they're talking about and that are going to call it. Because it doesn't even matter if this is the fighter you're promoting. Why would you not tell us what we're seeing is what we should believe? You're telling us some other stuff. I don't know. I don't like that. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense. Like, that's like me saying that Jesus Soto Kras was winning when I clearly seen Kamagai was winning. I wouldn't do that because Soto is the HBO fighter. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Golovkin. Just call it what you see. A welterweight hit you with this uppercut. You know what I mean? And he got your respect. Look at Golovkin. Hey, no, why? Like, you know what I'm saying? Just be real. New media. Let me know what you thought. I thought it was an excellent night of boxing, and I hate to detract away from the good shit to talk about the bullshit, but it is what it is. The forum seemed packed. That's another great thing. Chocolatito has star power, and it is what it is. Like, see, people are laughing. Oh, I was about to say, Ego, you're a hater, you're racist. But at the end of the day, like I said, you don't really see other pound-for-pound people moving up or not, like Floyd Mayweather or Pacquiao. When has Pacquiao moved up in weight and his face was looking like trash at the end of the fight? You know what I'm saying? Maybe Margarito, and Pacquiao started at what Roman started at, basically. and he moved all the way to 52 or whatever he fought Margarito at. But you see, the Pacquiao's on the pound for pound #1 list at a point. So is Mayweather. They don't usually move up and look. No one will say it's a draw. No one will say that Floyd got exposed. You know what I mean? When Floyd moved up and fought DeMarcus Corley, things like that. You know what I'm saying? So I think Roman Chocolatito has the ceiling to be great. I don't think he's quite there. He does some things that are great offensively, and he's just overall a good fighter. But you have to keep building, keep learning from experiences like that. And that, my friends, is unbiased commentary from Boxing Ego. And I'm out.
You don't feel it, then it must be too real to touch. You'll never in your life try to knock the truth. The illest shit ever. Get ready, cause this is about to get heavy.
Trying to keep me out, trying to censor what I say, cause they don't like what I'm talking about. So it's wrong with the media today.
Prove I'm lying if I ain't correct.